Cousins, long time no see. Welcome back to the channel. It's Cousin 5, and today I got a banger of a video for y'all because I read some really good books over these past couple weeks. And I know it's been a little minute since I talked to y'all. So do y'all miss me? Do y'all miss me? Because I know I miss y'all. I've been thinking about y'all all day, baby. Nah, but we really got some great books to review. I got 3 books for y'all. A romance book, I got a psychological fiction, and I got a dystopian fiction. And I'm gonna tell y'all what, before we even get into the books, these books had my emotions all over the place. I'm talking about the romance really had me feeling like I was in that book. Like I was back in high school and I'm really trying to, yeah. But the dystopian book had me thinking like, is this really a dystopian book, or are they talking about right now? Are they talking about the life that I'm living right now? Because that's what it feels like. And then the psychological fiction just had me all over the place. Wasn't expecting nothing that book had to offer. Like, especially from the title of the book to how it started off, y'all gonna see. But before we get into the nitty gritty of these books, I wanna thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now, I'm not the one who's sharing my feelings all the time or really even expressing how I feel whenever I feel it. But one thing that I know for a fact is that writing down what I feel and when I feel it always helps me a lot. So on Skillshare, I've been taking a class that's been led by Jasmine Cheyenne, and it's really just been helping me learn creative prompts to use to really get all of the emotions and feelings that I feel in different ways. And it's also been teaching me writing for self-care and really just making sure that I take care of myself in more ways than one. And not only that, Skillshare is the largest online learning community with thousands and thousands of classes led by industry pros across film, illustration, design, and so much more. And that's why I decided to join Skillshare and explore the different opportunities to learn about journaling and learn about different ways to express my feelings than I was used to. So this year, fam, if you want to invest in yourself and pick up a new hobby that you wanted to try and learn new skills on Skillshare, this is your opportunity, because the first 500 people to use the link in my description will get a 1 month, a whole month free trial on Skillshare. So don't walk, fam, or run. Now, let's get into these books, family. And the first book we're gonna talk about, I have to start off crazy because I can't stop thinking about it. I haven't stopped thinking about this book since I read it. And that is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. Y'all, when I tell you this book threw me for the craziest loop I have ever read in a book, and I'm not exaggerating. Now that I've read this book, I feel like it's even harder to explain in an easy way. So for y'all who don't know about this book, I'm just gonna read the synopsis real quick and then we're gonna talk about it. Nasuki is a young girl who feels like she's been dropped into her family from an alien planet. Her best friend is a plush toy hedgehog named Piyu, and her only human friend is her cousin Yu. Nasuki and Yu spend their summers in the wild mountains of Nagano, dreaming of other worlds. When a terrible sequence of events threatens to part the children forever, they make a promise: survive no matter what. Now, Nasuki is grown, living a quiet life with her asexual husband, but dark shadows and societal pressure are pursuing her. Fleeing the suburbs for the mountains of her childhood, Nasuki prepares herself for a reunion with Yu. Will he still remember their promise, and will he help her keep it? Dreamlike and wonderful, Earthlings cements Murata's standing as a master chronicler of our own uncanny universe. All right, so now that we got that out the way, let's talk about this book. This book started off slow. Like, I'm thinking like, all right, cool. This seems like a good book and I'm gonna keep reading it, but I really hope it gets interesting sometime soon. It didn't just get interesting, it got weird. And when I say weird, I mean like out of this world weird. Like I already knew that it was like a alien type of book, like maybe they were in some different type of world or imagination type thing, but Nah, this book got crazy. These kids were wild. It has a lot of taboo type stuff in it that you would never even think to read or think about. But it's like you already so much into the book that you want to keep reading. Like, nah, that was a little cringy, but I'm gonna keep reading because what happened next? There's a little essay in here too, so read this at your own discretion. But I will tell y'all that this was a good book nonetheless. And it has a lot of twists and turns. And I mean twists and sharp turns. Like you behind the wheel trying to get away from the police turns. Like this book is insane. It had me feeling kind of weird. Like I don't know what other way to describe it. But it was good. So I don't know. I gave this book like a 3.5. You know, they only do like solid stars. But I think it was a good book. It was just super weird and it was something that I wasn't prepared for. So overall, I liked it. Sayaka Murata is a very, very interesting author. And I've heard that she has some other good books. So I probably will go and get some of her other books and see how those are. Next, we're going to talk about Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. Now, this book is about two high school kids who used to be best friends and now they hate each other. They despise each other. They don't want to talk. I don't want to skate with you. I don't want to eat with you. No, none of that. But they're both super smart and they get into this same competition for a scholarship. When they're in this competition, they have to work together. They get put on the same team and they have to work together. And they start to figure out that they don't hate each other as much as they thought they did. They start to, kind of get back friends, and then they start to fall in love. And it's got its own little sequence of things that happen. So this book was extremely good to me. And I don't think that it was extremely good in the way of the writing itself, because a lot of stuff in this book, like obviously I know these are fiction books, but a lot of stuff in this book I thought was kind of corny. But what's even funnier is that I found myself like in the shoes of the characters more often than not. Plus, I really loved how Talia Hibbert spoke from both perspectives. And the perspective switched often. Like in every instance that something happened, we got the perspective of Celine, and then we also got the perspective of Brad. So we really got to see how each of them thought and like the way that they really were not necessarily playing against each other, but when things happen, you could see how both of them were thinking and how they were kind of thinking the same exact thing, but wasn't telling each other. So this book was really good. It took me like 2 or 3 days to read through this whole thing, and that's because I was doing stuff. I loved it. I think I gave this book like 4 stars, like maybe 4.5, maybe like 4.3, 4.4 stars. But I like this book a lot. And I would recommend this book if you like romance. Again, this is a YA, but easy read, and it's something that's gonna keep you interested the whole time. So, Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. All right, cuzzo, so the last book we're gonna talk about is 1984 by George Orwell. Now, this was a good book, but admittedly, it was super hard for me to read, and not for any one particular reason. I took a lot of breaks as I was reading this book just because it was hard to get through. But it was a good book nonetheless. So if you don't know what this is about, it's basically about a man named Winston who is a part of the Republic of Oceania, which is like a country and like a state sort of thing. But he is victim to Big Brother. Now, Big Brother is like the government, and they're always watching. And when I say always watching, your every move. They almost can watch your thoughts. But he grows old to Big Brother, and he starts to get frustrated, and he tries to devise a plan to like rebel against Big Brother. And in the long run, a lot of things happen and stuff goes one way or another. This book was eye-opening for me, because in the time at which this book was wrote, things were totally different from, you know, what we see them as today. But as I'm reading this book, it kind of really made me think of now. Like, and when I say now, I mean this time period that which we are in right now, because the way he talks about Big Brother and the way that they are censored, it really makes me think of the way that we are censored now. Yes, we do have free speech, and I'm not getting political, but we do have free speech and we have all these other things. But a lot of stuff we go through and a lot of stuff that we try to talk about does get censored, you know, to a certain extent. And that's what they're going through now. And he's always talking about being watched, and they have these telescreens, or I said telescreens like there's not a TV, but it's a TV that they like communicate with everybody through, and they can see everything. Like if you're in front of that TV or if you're in the view of that TV, they can see what you're doing. So he's always off behind the TV in this little like nook and cranny that he found to try and stay away from Big Brother. And again, that's like now we have all these phones, TVs, whatever has a camera. We always feel like somebody watching us. I always feel like somebody watching. I feel like this is a timeless book, if I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, it was a little bit of a hard read, but I'm so glad I read it, because the thoughts and things that Winston was going through is, I feel like, thoughts and things that we think today. That's just the way it is. And the way George Orwell really wrote this book, it just made you think. It made you think, and it made you almost want to be a rebellion yourself. I liked it, and I would recommend it, you know? And a lot of people recommended this book to me. And I feel like what made me not is focused on the book, or like made me stop as much, like so much, is because everybody said they read this book for school, or they read it in school or for an assignment of some sort. And I think that's what kind of was stuck in my head, and it made me feel like I was reading it for school. That might have been the one drawback, but other than that, I love this book. I like the stuff that George Orwell was talking about. I like the themes that he put in there as far as Big Brother and lies about history and all this super political stuff. I'm not a big political person, but it's important. And it just really made you think more than anything. Like, no matter what you were thinking about, you had to really think on what you were reading. So I really appreciated that. Overall, I gave this book like 3.5, 4 stars, maybe even 4.1, 4.2, because of what it's talking about. I think George Orwell did a great job with this book. All right, fam. So that was the last book. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. All 3 of these books were amazing. I loved them all. But I'm going to only recommend y'all 2, and that is 1984 and Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, because, like I said, Earthlings is a special kind of book. If you want to read it at your own discretion, because I will not be liable for how you feel when you read that crazy ass book. But that's the end of this video, man. Make sure y'all comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about these books if y'all read them. Let me know if these some good recs if y'all gonna read them. And that is that, folks. Stay safe, stay beautiful, and happy reading. Peace.